After he took me from the gate. So
Could you wait for the yes, please go ahead.
After he slapped me.
So I couldn't do no
Because when he slapped me, I fell down.
I couldn't do
That's how he dragged me and took me into an office.
So
Just a minute. You mean to say that you were being dragged like a sack?
Yes.
And where were you taken? Before you confessed being involved, as part of the torture, did they connect you to any particular object?
Yes, they did that. So that I can talk. Even during the beatings, they did that to me. Yes, they electrocuted me sometimes. But yes, they were doing that, electrocuting me. It went on for so many times in those 2 days. Sometimes they'll put it in my ear, sometimes under the sole of my feet.
The electrocution device, to what was it connected, as far as you know?
Yes, they put it, it's just wires fixed to a plug.
So they
will go come and put it on your leg or in your ear, on your ear.
Did they burn you with anything?
Yes, I'm coming to that also. When they brought my father plus my sister,
so
it was the time they brought me out of Bambadinka. After bringing me out of Bambadinka, they stripped me in front of my father.
Do you remember the story of Balo Kanteh? His story is far from over. The man who attempted to overthrow President Yahya Jammeh? Before the gunfire, before the arrest, before the prison cells, there was a long journey that brought him here. Balo Kanteh was one of many young Africans trained in Libya under Muammar Gaddafi's Pan-African military project, a program that promised revolution, unity, and power. From Libya, his path led into war. Led by Kukoi Samba Sanyang, Balo was moved out of North Africa and into Liberia, where he fought alongside Charles Taylor during the civil conflict that tore the country apart. But Liberia was not the final destination. The real target was the Gambia. The group passed through Senegal by Kukoi, but the plan began to collapse. Kukoi Samba Sanyang returned to Liberia, leaving Balo and others stranded. The Senegalese government did not want them there. Arrests began. Some of the men were detained, others scattered to escape capture. Balo was now on his own with others. From Senegal, he began crossing into the Gambia repeatedly, moving quietly, watching carefully. He studied security routines, checkpoints, and soldier movements. He attended President Yahya Jammeh's political rallies in villages, blending into crowds, observing without being noticed. Balo testified that he even entered the State House to study the president's security. But without weapons, he knew any attempt there would be suicide. He could not locate the armory. The risk was too high. So he changed his plan.
His new focus became the Farafen army camp. For months, Balo moved in and out of the area, studying the soldiers, their routines, habits, and weaknesses, until the day he finally launched his attack. The operation led to the capture of the army commander and the seizure of weapons from the armory. With the commander in their custody, Balo and his men attempted to move toward Banjul, heading for State House. Along the way, they stopped a commercial van, ordered all the passengers out, and used the vehicle to continue their movement toward the capital. But daylight came too soon. Some of his men were injured. Soldiers blocked the road with a military truck, with civilians standing around it. Balo testified that they could not fire. Innocent lives were never their target. At that moment, he knew the truth. The operation had failed. What followed was not victory, but arrest, detention, interrogation, torture. From the National Intelligence Agency to the cells of Mile 2 prison, Balo Kanteh entered the darkest chapter of his life. Remember, you're watching part 4 of Balo Kanteh's story. If you haven't watched the earlier parts, visit our YouTube channel, Gambia 68, to catch up.
Welcome back, Mr. Witness.
Sedo, bismillah.
Bismillah.
May I remind you that you are still under oath?
Me fansi yakilo blande ni hanin kabi yakalo menta hanin sabi ibe o kali kilimo koto.
So you have told us this morning
Denyim fonya ni somandan nako
how you left Gambia,
bota Gambia banko kan nyame,
went all the way to Libya,
itara fo Libya banko kan,
acquired all this training,
itara ni londo karango be soto je.
You went to Liberia,
Itara Liberia banko kan,
and later came to Senegal
bota oranara Senegal banko kan,
and infiltrated Gambia
inara na dum bang Gambia banko fanan
and
kan,
attacked the Farafenni camp.
inara na boy Gambia la sojar undam be farafenye.
Your mission failed,
Hamen ko menti ya boyta.
and you tried to sneak out.
Ya katapurka kana kafinti.
You were captured.
Iye muta.
That's what we discussed this morning, correct?
Nganyene kacha kodi.
What happened to the camp commander?
Mune keta camp commander nyinna.
Camp commander Burama Sen.
The camp commander called Brahma Sen.
Biran Sen.
Or Biran Sen. Biran Sen was the camp commander.
So nga defon arrest la natara nola so birin janjanda damando.
We arrested him and went along with him, but where we dispersed,
so na janjanda so ala soldier roll men ni benda pira singare.
After we dispersed and after meeting with the other soldiers like Peter Singate, he went along with them.
Was he injured?
No.
Did you maltreat him? Take your time. You can perhaps have more water. You can take him to the witness room and assist him to recuperate. Hello, Mr. Witness. Are you okay now?
Alhamdulillah.
Yes, thanks to Allah.
Are you able to proceed?
Inshallah.
Yes, by the grace of Allah.
If at any time you feel that you are unable to proceed, just let us know. We can take a break to allow you to recuperate, or we can take the necessary step that the situation demands.
Sioni video ni kono nim futa tembera ya kala muta ifam fe ko ite tenten nola isa isin kala muta ndi saje nsi wato ni sioni saki domanding yata ifam topoto domande
with no disappearance.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Certainly. So Officer Biran Sen was not maltreated in any way. That's what you said, right?
Officer Biran Sen wala kam komanda nyinti imamuta almamuta nyala me alon ko ay tarde do ko no waranto kudo
Hani bringa arrest.
No, when we arrested him,
Mr. Witness, bring Alia kidnap.
Bringa kidnap.
When we kidnapped him,
Mang moma neng.
Nobody insulted him.
Moma bute.
Nobody beat him.
Moma kuma jawafai.
Nobody told him any hard words.
Because intola londo tambira wala puruka wachawala.
Because our experience or our knowledge is more than doing such a thing to him.
The
Reason why we kidnapped him like that and took him away, had it been in other places, if you enter a camp and capture a camp, the soldiers ran away, and you now capture the camp commander and leave him like that and go. He didn't die. He was not injured. Nothing happened to him. After the whole episode, if orders come, they will accuse the camp commander being in the same agreement with those who attacked the camp.
So
this is why we captured and took him away. Had it been in other places, the moment the loyal soldiers arrive, they will arrest him because they will think that he was in agreement with the attackers of the camp.
Thank you very much for that response. So now, in your testimony, you have come as far as telling us that you have arrived at the NIA. Who received you at the NIA? You are now brought to the NIA. You have revived. Well, you have now regained your consciousness. Tell us what you saw.
When we arrived at the NIA, I was brought down the vehicle. They opened the door, their main gate. After opening the gate, Lamin Jobate.
Which Lamin Jobate are you talking about?
Lawyer, Minister of Justice.
The lawyer who once was the Minister of Justice.
Do you know any other name by which he is called?
I heard some people calling him as Baba Dindin Jobate.
Did you know him before?
I never set eyes on him.
That was the first time you saw him?
Yes.
How did you know he was called Lamin Jobate or Baba Dindin Jobate?
Because received Bundanyan.
Because he was the man who received me at the gate.
But I received him.
After he received me, before that, I was able to recognize him among people.
I received Bundanyan.
After he received me at the gate, before we reached inside, I think the moment I stepped on the ground, that's where my peace ended. Before they knew anything, the moment I stepped on the ground, he slapped me.
Who slapped you?
Baba Dinding Jobate. So muta wala nyama waro yalobe boka nai singoro keso madam.
That's how they caught me. But at that time, I was still bleeding from the bullet wound on my leg.
You have not yet been taken to hospital?
Honey? No.
And before slapping you, did he ask you anything?
Ama nyininga fana yende jindi drong. Kum sa meni yende samana biri yende jindi drong. Ita malong konta mujumali tenende tafu yentulo fadi drong. Yendraki wonya yen samba ila offshore.
Well, just like after arriving, the moment they brought me down from the vehicle, he didn't ask me anything, he didn't say anything to me, he just slapped me, and that's afterwards they dragged me into an office.
How do you know that this person was Minister of Justice at a later stage?
Iti yalo nyadi le nyimari nying anana kita minister member lual ni tilingola nyaro domanding.
Aindra kaso kono.
He found me inside the jail.
Did you have a conversation with him in the jail?
Kaso kono je birina be nyokan je foina kachata jele bang.
Janni ba sambara na kaso kono.
Before they bring him into the jail,
arrest.
After he was arrested,
after no I tortured him official member.
Because before all that, when he tortured me and the officers who were present,
Baba Dinding
Jobate and some others, I narrate to them what happened.
So arrest drunk.
So when he was just arrested,
he was taken
to the main yard. And after he was taken to the main yard, they wanted to bring them to confinement. The officer who was in charge of the confinement wing, he was called Dudu Ture. He came and called me, and then he told me, you people have to bear.
Because
you people have to forgive, isn't it?
Sabaro.
Patience.
Okay. That's different from to forgive.
All right.
Sabaro.
I was trying to interpret the context, but undoubtedly I got it wrong. Please proceed.
You people have to bear. Without that, because somebody who maltreated you, and that person also is arrested and brought to the same place, they wanted to transfer him to come to the confinement wing. I want to appeal to you.
Yes,
please be patient. Because Allah has decided, even before you all died, if you don't take patience, then you will never be patient again.
We would come back to all this later. Okay. What I want to establish is, how did you come to be certain, to be sure that the person that received you is Baba Dinding Jobate?
Lafta ka men sabati de wala nyindi ko nyin keno ta nyaadi le men anarna sabati sonno mo kono ko nyimmari meye kabri naati je meye tulo buza Baba Dinding Jobate lam.
Because Ibrahim Bondi Bundaro,
because when he took me away from the gate,
I samba for office.
He took me right into the office.
So I see that
he sat down.
I him for a float him.
He put me come in the front and you demonstrate.
When nyaro ya moliaje. Si raw nati nyaro. Si raw boni tabulo ma fon le nati nyaro. Wuli.
Bring the chair, let him sit and show us what happened, what he did.
Ko ya itandi commission la menkela.
Please proceed.
And then yavo.
After he took me from the gate.
So
could you wait for the... Yes, please, go ahead.
After he slapped me.
So I couldn't know because
when he slapped me, I fell down.
I couldn't do.
That's how he dragged me. and took me into an office.
So
just a minute. You mean to say that you were being dragged like a sack?
Yes.
And where were you taken?
They took me to a hall, a big hall which was there.
Was the hall upstairs or downstairs?
It's downstairs.
What's the distance between the point from which he started to drag you to the point where you were taken to, at least to the point you were given a seat?
Dinkira la jamfo be nyoy nyaadi le dinkira men ayaku da mutake kurundu damento aning aye samba dinkira mento jamfo be nyoy nyaadi le.
Well, it's a little bit distance.
You are a soldier. You can give us an estimate of distance.
Soldier ro muiti isi yirkaro dino mollale ala jamfo.
5 meters, 10
meters.
It might be 10 meters, something like that. Yes.
How did it feel being dragged on the ground like that?
Ite yo ki ta nyaadi le akite fe nyaadi le ke kurundu teroto bankoto nyama.
Ma understand because I don't balo from Benyama. I ain't Kenyama, Warum Balo from Benyam, Ma understand Munana Dali Jumaladina, Emaninka, Emalo Jumalem, drag Wanyama, and Samba for Overthrow. Then I came for a full tema, Yendeke.
I don't know why, because I don't understand it. Just apart from, just after alighting from the vehicle, he slapped me and then dragged me into an office.
I
fell down and he dragged me like that on the ground up to the office, and then he put me between his two legs.
He sat
without
down
asking me.
He sat down and put me between his two legs.
Yes.
I see that's around so I see anything.
He sat down. He sat down in a chair and he put me between his two legs and squeezed me and then started slapping me on both sides.
So
on both cheeks?
On both cheeks.
At
that time, many of the NIA operatives came in there.
Let's try to get this picture. When he put you in between his two legs, were you seated on the floor or were you standing?
I was sitting down on the ground. He was sitting on a chair and I was sitting on the ground.
How many times did he slap you?
Because you can't I cannot
say how many, because when he slaps me, they keep on asking me, and after he slaps, others will also come and start slapping me as he was doing. So this was going along with questions.
In your opinion, who was in charge of the persons who were in the room at the time?
Itela miraloro jumala tartanu marali nu mola mbare jumala mu nyato kundon koti obungu nyinkono ji
wo watola
watola nsavo memarela Fode Bari.
At that time I can say that Fode Bari was their head.
Apart from okay, let me put it in a very neutral way. Who were the people present in the room at that time?
Watola jumala molti menbe tarta mabere nu obungu nyinkono ji watola.
I mean, Jabate was there.
Fode Bari. Ani dobeje kafa Ninja.
There was another one called Ninja.
Ani atondila bangsa. Ni manja kontong bemana bangsa.
Mun kontom sifa
la.
Surwa kontong
mulongo lande.
Mandinka kontong. Yola kontong. Bambara Konto.
Well,
maybe I might remember the name
describe
later.
him?
He was well built. He goes in and out, but the day I was brought there, that night, he came there.
So not another no Liparova container at the phone Keramor Melango Lipakan Kende.
Because the time he came in there, that was the time when they were beating me, and he joined them and they beat me very well.
Yo, Katafo ni Salimina Drame.
Los Salimina Drame.
At the Buddha Jarangola.
He is from Jara. He was also there.
So this person whose name you can't remember, Salmina Drame, Ninja, Odebari, Lamin Jabate. Those are the people you have named so far.
Yep.
So let's take it step by step. Now you've been brought into this room. You said somebody sat on the chair and placed you in between his legs and squeezed you. Who was this person?
Lamin Jobate.
And what is his other name?
Baba Dindin Jobate.
The other name is Baba Dindin Jobate.
What other position do you know him to have held in this country?
Galonko o time abenu NIA
At that time he was at the NIA, later on he was a lawyer. Afterwards he was appointed as a magistrate or a judge.
Minister of Justice.
From then he was appointed as the Minister of Justice.
Okay, who is the other person that participated? You said there were others who would also come and slap you while they were asking you questions.
Yes, just because
but I let him.
Okay.
There was a man.
What's his complexion?
Yes, he's in between black and fair complexion.
Did he say a Balo Koita?
Mampata Balo.
Yes, but okay. He says Bampata Balo, a Balo Koita. What does that mean? Could you interpret that?
Mampata Balo means somebody who is in between fair coloredness and dark in complexion.
Okay. All right. And you said, are you okay, Mr. Witness, or you need?
Yeah, okay. I'm okay.
You're all right. Okay. And this person,
you marry.
You don't remember his first name or his last name?
I
forgot him just now, but I knew his name and surname all before.
Is that a name that you had given me before?
Yes, I gave you the name before. I gave it to you, but maybe now I forgot, but it's there.
Okay, just give me a minute. May I come approach Mr. Chair? Thank you.
Okay, yeah, so the one thing I care man willing.
After the failed operation and surrender, Balo Kanteh's journey took a dark and irreversible turn. He was arrested and immediately taken into the hands of the state. Balo says he was transported to the National Intelligence Agency, NIA, the feared security institution of Yahya Jammeh's regime, where many never left the same way they entered. According to Balo's own testimony, the man who received him at the NIA was Lamin Jobarte, also known as Baba Dingding Jobarte. Balo recounts that the moment he was brought in, there were no questions, no formal process, no rights. Instead, he says he was met with violence, a slap that marked the beginning of systematic torture. At the time, Lamin Baba Dingding Jobarte was serving as an NIA officer operating within the intelligence and interrogation system that enforced Yahya Jammeh's rule through fear. From that moment on, Balo says his life changed forever. What followed were long interrogations, beatings, and psychological abuse, not to gather truth, but to break him. He was moved between detention cells, isolated, and repeatedly questioned about the failed uprising, his role in the Farafeni army camp attack. Balo would later say, "That was when I saw hell." From the NIA, his suffering did not end, it only escalated. He was eventually transferred to Mile 2 prison, a place notorious for torture, disappearances, and deaths under Yahya Jammeh's rule. Behind those walls, Balo Kanteh entered the darkest chapter of his life. No freedom, no peace, only survival.
Mr. Witness,
Sedo,
the chairman has permitted me
Chairman Esilo Dinale,
give you 10 names.
Motanto Dila,
Some I plugged out from the air. It's just in random names.
All Dolbeje Ngol Bondi Mfangole Karadola.
Some of people who worked at the NIA.
Dol tol mu molder miana ko be do ko la NIA je fangoto.
And you would, if you remember the name, you would tell us which name it is or which name you've remembered. James Cisse, Baba Demba, Musa Toure, Tamsir Fall, Hari Sambu,
Walem, Hari Sambu,
Walem.
Yes.
How do you know that it's Hari Sambu?
Yalo nyadi le ko Hari Sambulam.
Because it all come say Siara.
Because there were many there.
Joe Mendy.
There was one person called Joe Mendy.
So
So when they were torturing me,
comes up, you know the point I'll see here.
So just in fact I forgot a point. Please forgive me.
You told me Mutarani Fango, Amanke Kante Walla Fango, Nino Waro said, we're going to talk to you Watola.
Because this was the time I was tortured. So whenever that time comes around,
Nino Waro said, because man comes out, that can sort of follow back.
I'm not quite healed, I'm not quite well.
Near Narado, I can first school, I told Kamu Sumani na watu vitambela kabiri November kara December so wala Balan na diam kong fang falindare. But now I rosita. Hanin men be siri to be alone because now for now I rosita kamal.
Well, this thing happens to me around November to December. Whenever this comes around, when the time comes around, this was the time they tortured me. So this thing happens to me, and even those I stay with, they know. I told them.
So NIA.
So at the NIA.
I
know Hari Sambu. There were many of them there at that time.
96.
By the time we were going to the NIA, it was in 1996.
Late Sambaba.
At that time, late Sambaba.
Director of NIA.
He was the director of the NIA.
So
by the time we were being taken there.
So now let's talk about the torture. You told us about being Baba Dinding Jabate putting you in between his legs and he was slapping you. And others joined in. Who are those who joined in and beat you?
Harisambu was there.
For everybody. Ninja. Salmina. Joe. Any other people may told London.
From some other guys, I don't know their names. Yes, they were in there.
All these people you named, did they torture you?
All of them beat me. I wouldn't tell lies against them. No, I wouldn't tell lies against them.
I want to get this absolutely. I want to get emphatic answers from you. And I remind you that you are under oath. You have an obligation to speak the truth. Salmina Drame, did he hit you?
Salmina Drame, yes.
In fact, he was saying that these people just take them and give them to the crocodiles. Because by the time when we were there, myself and Yahya Jammeh were in the same cell. They took us towards the area where Bambadinka we were left at the place called Bambadinka, myself and Yahya Jammeh.
Okay. Okay. Just a moment. You said Salmina Drame hit you.
Yes.
Fodebari?
He was the man hitting me on my head with a stick.
Harisambu, did he beat you?
Yes.
And for how long did this particular torture session last? This was your first day at the NIA.
Yes, this question is good. Because this beating, this torture session, the first day when I was taken to the NIA, after they beat me that night, to tell them who I was, whether I was part of the Farafenye attack group or they didn't have anything from me, no answers. Throughout that night, they were beating me, but they were unable to get any response from me. So the following morning, they took me out again, out of Bambadinka.
Up to this moment, you have not been taken to the hospital? No. How about the bullet wound that you were suffering? It wasn't attended to?
No. Some of them were even stamping on that area of my leg with their boots, with their shoes. So when it was daybreak the following day, they took me out of Bambadinka. They took me to the office again. So that's how I was in their hands. They were beating me and questioning me. But up to that point, I didn't give them anything.
On this occasion, who was involved?
That second beating,
Lamin
Jobate,
the
Fodebari,
Dani Samusar, Colonel Samusar.
And Colonel Samsar.
Excuse me?
Huh?
Who's this third person you mentioned?
Samsar. Atlebenu Babukari Jara no more time.
Samsar, he was the next man to Babukar Jata at that time.
But Colonel Samsar was in the headquarters, the army headquarters. He was not at the NIA.
Akubari Colonel Samsar, Watola, Abe Sojaro la Corda Baltonu, Amantanum NIA la Cordato.
Yo, Baranganaje Senandi.
Yes, let me clarify that point.
In Araje Uraro Komsa Konton Kora Mulong.
He came there around after lunch time.
Who came there?
Malena Raje.
At Samsar and Babukar Jata.
Samsar and Babukar Jata came there.
So very nara.
When they came,
Duma.
At that time I was made to sit on the ground.
Were you fully clothed at the time?
Honey.
No.
What happened to your clothes?
I was stripped. I was just wearing my underwear, my knickers.
So Duma.
When I was made to sit down,
so
they were beating me and still questioning me so that I can tell them that yes, I was part of the group.
So
I was there.
Samsar
came with Babukar Jata.
So when
he entered,
army combat
he himself, Samsar, with his army combat boots, he kicked me.
So
when he kicked me, he started hitting me with his hands on my back. He was also kicking me on my back.
Could you come to the front and demonstrate to the commission how he was doing it?
When I was sitting down on the ground,
so
with only my underwear,
so
when he came with Babukar Jata,
so
the moment he came in, he kicked me with his army combat.
So
when I fell down,
so
he used his army combat and started stamping on my head.
While you were lying on the floor like that?
Yes.
Okay. Can you show us how he was stamping on you?
He was stamping on me with insults. Yes, he was using that word and stamping on me.
So
apart from stamping you, did he use his hands against you?
Yes, he used to blow me on my back with his hands. Babukar Jatta came and held him.
Babukar Jatta kaya ko, hey.
Babukar Jatta said to him, hey. This man has been brought here. We are not yet, we don't know as yet whether he was part of the attackers of Farafenni or not. And now you are treating him like this. Now if you kill him, you will explain yourself. That's what Babukar told him.
But how do you know who was Samsar and who was Babukar Jatta? You can take your seat.
Because it all more Babukar Jatta army commander, army commander no.
I know them because when I was sitting down there, they told me this is the army commander and this is his deputy.
But how do you manage to remember these names?
It
will only have one.
They told me, but the Mandinka proverb goes, the person who kills the animal for food, well, he will forget. But the person whom you refuse to give a share will not forget.
So I bet Dr. Caesar didn't know that one. Proceed, Mr.
Ten.
So,
after that, they were still unable to get any.
Mr. Witness, Mr. Witness, do you recall what Samsar was wearing during that event?
He was in full uniform.
How do you know that he was colonel?
He was having the ranks on his body.
It will only have time.
And they also told me at that time.
Can you give us a description of Samsar?
Samsar, amuluntanya for isa tandi for isa ofono nyaba mumo nyanya
Samsar
at the time I knew him, he was a tall man. He is not very well built, not to that extent. Because if you compare him with Babukar Jatta, Babukar is more well built than him, but he was taller than Babukar.
Okay. In which language did he insult you? You said he insulted you. You also said he said, excuse my language. Did he insult you in any other language?
No, he was just using this word.
After Balo Kanteh surrendered, his peace came to an end. He was arrested and taken into custody, where interrogation after interrogation followed at the hands of the National Intelligence Agency, NIA. Beatings became routine. The pressure never stopped. According to Balo, the interrogators wanted only one thing: for him to admit involvement in the Farafenni army camp attack. At first, they were not certain he was part of it. They suspected him, but they did not yet trust the evidence. Despite the violence, Balo maintained his silence. And when the interrogators failed to extract a confession or solid proof, plans were quietly made to release him. But fate intervened. That moment came when one of Balo Kanteh's associates, Yahya Jammeh, was captured and brought into the NIA. As Yahya Jammeh was led inside, he saw Balo Kanteh and called him by name, Balo. In that instant, everything changed. Balo knew it was over. That single moment confirmed the suspicions the NIA had been holding on to. From that point on, there was no doubt in their minds. Balo Kanteh was involved. What followed next marked the beginning of the darkest chapter of his life, and the rest became history.
So after Sam Sar beat you, what happened next?
Because what happened?
So inada fenga mutana ya drama.
It was the time they caught Yahya Jammeh.
When
Yahya was brought, by that time they had not got any response from me. Now they wanted to release me. And what they said was that as far as we were unable to get anything from this man, if the sun goes down, then we can release him.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned 2 torture sessions.
Yes.
The first was the day you arrived, and this was the second day you were at the NIA.
Yes.
Was this the time Jammeh was brought in?
It was the second day that Yahya Jammeh was arrested and brought in there.
And so what happened when Yahya was brought?
When Yahya came, he was escorted by soldiers. His hands were cuffed behind him. When he just was approaching, at that time their office was open. I was sitting down on the ground in there. So when Yahya saw me, he said, Balo. That was the end of peace for me. It was the time they said, so he is one of them. So from that instant, I am unable to know where beatings were coming from. When they beat me again,
do you know who are the people that participated in this beating?
No time ya samana sojarol ya escort. So mojama be no ma dolwe ofso kono je burubiri ya ko balo idendan naloro.
Well, at that time there were many of them. So when these soldiers escorted Balo into the compound, and the moment he saw me, when Yahya was brought in, and the moment he saw me, he said Balo. From that moment, these people all came against me.
So we want to know who participated in it.
Mr. Witness,
I menutra of so konoje ara forever be of so konoje jobare beje
the people he found in the office.
Sam Sarbeje jo beje jo mende beje even in Fango Salmina Bay, many Harisambu Bay, told baby over time.
The people he counted like this, Joe Mendy, Harisambu, Salmina Jammeh, they were all present. And Ninja, they were all there.
Did all these people participate in your torture?
Yes, very well.
Can you tell us the names of those you know tortured you on that occasion? This would be your third torture.
No,
not Lung Sabanjango. Lung Fulanjango, but Liparungo Sabanjango.
Samina Lung Sabanjango la Carola.
Before that,
Janio Bekela, Yahya Jammeh nati. Yalo wo benta lung fulanjango le fe.
Wolune okay.
Wolunga munta wulung kilingo ye bute sinya fulale kodi. Yo akenyin ka wolela wo bute fulanjango. Yalo ye bute folo kele. Han fo fongolo ko wari man kuma soto abulu asike uraro ngabula. Wo kola lo mila foroto ye Yahya Jammeh nati. Bidun Yahya Jammeh ye to kumandi iko Cairo banda wotumole. So akenyin ka wolla Cairo la bandi jumanyo le muruta nang kota ke lipa Sinya Fulanjango, Wolum Kilingo kono.
I mean also kono je jobare beje for de bar beje.
Those for killing for. The people he found in the office there were Jobate himself plus Fode Bari, Aning.
Salmina beje.
Salmina was there.
Harisambu beje.
Harisambu was there.
Joe beje.
Joe was there.
Joe, what's his last name?
Joe Kondong.
Joe Mendy.
Joe Mendy.
And who else?
And Ninja.
And Ninja.
And other people, many come and told.
And some other people. I cannot remember their names because there were many.
At this time, where was Samsar?
Samsar
He was there. By the time they were bringing him, he was there, and he was part of the torturing team. He was there.
Babukar Jata, was he there?
Babukar Jata,
he was there, but he didn't touch me. Because it's better to tell the truth. He didn't touch me. He was there, but he didn't touch me.
All right, we would take it again, and we just want clarity as to who tortured you and who did not torture you. I must apologize, Mr. Chair. I just have to do this, be pedantic about it, and make sure that we have it in the record exactly who did what.
Ko be kiyaman aba kiyaman ko fonsi nyinge drong isaje kuma sena on soto isaje men safero men fanambe safela kuma sena we soto je membe safela je.
Mr. Jobate, did he beat you on this occasion, this second time of torture on that day?
Yes. Mr. Jobate fo ay lipar fulanjaw men ya kela bang?
Yes.
Yes.
Fode Bari, did he beat you on this second occasion?
Fode Bari dungo fana lipala bang lum fulanjaw la bang?
Yes, dokolo fama bare bula kam lipam kundu. Always dokolo katare.
Always he was having a stick and he used to beat me on my head.
Salmina?
Salmina drama.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, what?
He also beat me.
Harisambu?
Harisambu fana.
Yes, Harisambu also.
Also what?
He also beat me.
Joe Mendy?
Joe
Mendy also beat me.
Babukar Jata?
No, Babukar Jata mama.
No, Babukar Jata didn't touch me.
Ninja?
Ninja touched me.
Samsar
Samsar also.
Aye manyadi.
He tortured me. He beat me.
And then what happened after all this beating?
After all this beating, when Yahya was brought in,
so Yahya samba wolo dola konoje.
Yahya was taken to another hall there.
So
they stripped him completely naked.
So
they went and cut some lime. Plus some vinegar. Plus some petrol.
So
and it was put on a cotton.
So
and I was also brought into the hall.
So
and now they wanted to that's what they wanted to do was to put that into his anus. And if you do that to a person, he dies immediately.
So
when they were unable to do that to him,
but did they try?
They tried very well to do it.
Why didn't they succeed? It might be Allah's intervention. Did Yahya Jammeh, did he submit or he resisted?
For Yahya Jammeh, balantara bang for Yahya fan itu ibul.
He didn't resist. How can you resist when there were many people against you? Because his right hand was bent and twisted until it was broken.
Who did that?
Many of them were in there, soldiers, Lamin Jobate, so and others. A lot of them surrounded him. They surrounded him and were standing over him.
So let me ask you this question. You know Lamin Jobate is a trained lawyer.
Lamin Jobate lawyer.
Do you know that?
I know that.
You know Hari Sambu is also trained in the law. These people know that torturing is a serious offense. Samsar was a very senior officer of the Gambia Armed Forces, of the Gambia National Army. All these people know that torturing is prohibited. Are you suggesting that all these people with that knowledge sat there and participated in your torture?
They had no knowledge, because if they had the knowledge at that time, they wouldn't have participated. But if they had the knowledge also, then it was useless to them. They wouldn't have done what they did.
So aro tolka menjero wala mo bare ya jamelo palaso nyindila so we do hola dictero nye so the lafra palaso no anin torno so we kondo bangu din jawole rolam bangu din kendol.
What they were doing, it was for a position, because Yahya Jammeh gave them this position, so they were doing it to please him. So they took us as the bad elements of the country, so they were the good ones for the country.
So this Yahya, you said they tried to insert that object into his anus, but they did not succeed.
Iko ya katale puruka nyimfengota kadunde akoma, but ima keno.
And you said that they pushed his palm, his hand, basically backwards until they broke it.
Andu iko ya ila imbuluteto fana mulukondi mteto mutada ya ngaji fo ya kati.
Yes.
Do you know what else they did to him?
Yala no nyinku fulol kola fo ye kudo fana kala leba.
Je kay tochorun kay containers bandana la nyokano je wolumol nyina birew kala man soksi ya blokari e ba soksi so after o kola ina ramura wala nyama ka onko fuka afai bamba denka.
Well, after all this torturing, when they were unable to insert that object into his anus, and they went on until they broke his hand, then when all those failed to make him talk, they decided to take him and throw him into Bambadinka.
And
handcuffed him.
Yes.
Handcuffed him and threw him into Bambadinka. And
yes.
What happened to you?
Yo, biro bodaye.
After that.
So biri inaran tengenga so only paro nara na diam.
They came back to me and started asking me, and during that beating, I talked.
So
when I talked,
so
I told them I was part of the team. Because already I knew that when Yahya saw me, I knew that he recognized me.
So
I said to them, yes, I was one of them.
So
that was the time they went on asking me.
So when
they were asking me,
so
and that's the time when I narrated the whole thing to them, how I came into the Gambia, I went to my father, I explained all that to them.
So it had arrest.
So they went and arrested my father.
So I
wasn't there, but as I was told, our compound, soldiers came and surrounded the whole compound when they were arresting my father.
Hold a second. Let's take it a step backwards. In describing your torture for the second day,
Udero nyin kay tan da kete nyame lum fula nyawonya.
Did, apart from beating you,
Ninga bota ke bude bulu jarola.
did they put anything on you?
Fo ye fen ke ibala ba.
Hani mo de mo ke follow for birum fama na tawaro man.
No, they didn't do anything like that until when they brought my father.
Yam fama samana ni na sister do ka fo nyomo jamme.
They brought my father and one of my sisters called Nyomo Jammeh.
Ani muso do yow fana mbona soma na dimu barinde ma wolonde.
And another lady who was brought from Soma with her child, but I don't know them.
So afterwards,
Afterwards, that was the time when they forced me again.
They
wanted me to say that Jawara was part of it and Sehu Sabali.
So
they said by force those people were part of the attempt, so I have to say that.
Who told you that?
Jobate and
Fodebari.
Are you certain? Yes, I told them that these people, I don't know them, and I cannot say anything like that. Just to save my skin.
Save my life.
But when they brought my father, plus my sister Nyomo Jammeh, plus another lady from Soma, I don't know her.
Okay, just a moment. Before you confessed being involved, as part of the torture, did they connect you to any particular object?
Yes, they did that. So that I can talk. Even during the beatings, they did that to me. Yes, they electrocuted me sometimes. But yes, they were doing that, electrocuting me. It went on for so many times in those 2 days. Sometimes they'll put it in my ear, sometimes on the sole of my feet.
The electrocution device, to what was it connected, as far as you know?
Yes, they put it, it's just wires fixed to a plug.
So
they will come and put it on your leg or in your ear, on your ear. The time when we were there, that's how they were torturing us.
Did they burn you with anything?
Yes, I'm coming to that also. When they brought my father, plus my sister,
so it was the time they brought me out of Bambadinka. After bringing me out of Bambadinka, they stripped me in front of my father.
I am sorry about this. Are you able to proceed?
Yes, I can continue.
If at any point you feel that you cannot continue, please let us know.
I will be able to continue.
Thank you very much. Proceed, please.
When I was brought, my father was sitting down. My sister was there. There was another lady who was arrested in Soma with her child. The nika or the underwear I had was taken off me, and I was stark naked in front of my father. So they tied my hand. And they tied me just as when they are about to slaughter a cow. So when they did that to me, they brought a bag. So they gave Joe Mendy this plastic bag. So I told them they were the people standing over me for the Bari Joe Mendy and Baba Dindin Jobate. So they lighted this plastic bag and were putting it on my body so that I can talk. When they put light to it and when it was burning, that oil or that liquid from the burning plastic will be stripping on me. So that's what they were doing. So Baba Dindin took one of my breasts and cut it off with a razor blade.
Excuse me, Mr. Witness. What do you mean by what you have just said?
He just cut off my one breast with a razor blade because of wickedness.
So you mean to say that one of your nipples is gone, but because Baba Dindin Jobate took a razor blade and cut it off?
Yes.
Mr. Witness, you are on the oath.
I have sworn, and I will not tell lies against him. Because when he came and found me in the jail, I told him that I can forgive, but I will never forget. And wherever I am asked, I will narrate it.
How did he respond?
He just bent his head. There's nothing he can do.
Are you willing, Mr. Witness, to show this to the commission?
Yes, really, very well.
Go ahead. In the meantime, Mr. Chairman, I have pictures, so I would share the pictures for the commissioners to have a better look. Could you show the commission? And let this be filmed, please. Mr. Witness, you don't mind it being filmed and showed to the public, do you?
For abenyi ngaka ni na kele bulu kolia de pour ya fintindi television dunia be ajam fo abekola lebul.
No problem. No problem.
Please go ahead.
To
the chair. The left breast.
Yes, it's the left breast.
I think it's quite obvious that something is missing on the left breast. The nipple is missing. But what are those spots just below your breast?
Those marks were caused by liquid of a burning plastic. Because when they were torturing me, so they told me you will never get married again. Jomendi told me that if we deal with you, you will never be able to function as a man, never again until you die. I told him, you said what you intend. But I haven't heard it from Allah. If Allah says that I will not be able to function as a man again, well, that's what will happen. My father was sitting down. My father cried. My father told them his deeds. I wasn't aware of it. But saying that I am his father. Yes, I am his father. From this world till the next world. Because when Yahya Jammeh was taking over this country, he didn't inform his parents. This man also didn't inform me. If he had told me, I wouldn't allow him to do it. And they told my father very hard words. Then my father became sick after. Up to this time.
Out of conscience.
Up to this time,
let him sit down.
My father cannot recover. Up to this moment, he is just like that.
Mr. Witness. Mr. Witness, before you wear your clothes, did they do anything to you below your nipple? Below your belly button?
For a kukela lebang, a batakuma ya do mala, for a tilimbali afutata jelebang. Yes, there was a time when I cannot even urinate because they treated me in many different ways.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I have pictures of that too. Please wear your clothes and be seated.
Balo Kanteh haketu keneke baraka amani information mendi commission la haketu.
Mr. Chair, I have provided the Commission with a set of pictures just showing the types of scars on the witness's body. Balo Kanteh.
Balo Kanteh.
No.
Who would you say are the people who are responsible for all this suffering you went through at the NIA? All of them.
Ite ba fola jumala tarta marling nyun kuola nyin dete jawo ni nyun kolea jawol men late kan NIA nyun molbe iba fola jumala ma kundu ko be jumala marla kola.
Name all of them.
Ibe tofo.
Baba Dini
Njobate. Fode Bari.
Salmino
Drame.
Hari Sambu. Samsar. Joe Mendy. Ninja. They were there.
Thank you very much.
Number about it.
But as at the time they were doing all this to you, in the presence of your father, where were these women that you mentioned, who you said were also arrested?
They were sitting there. The other one was my sister. The other woman, I don't know her, but she was arrested from Soma.
There was also a child, you said.
Yes, the lady had a child. She was arrested from Soma.
And was the child also present when you were being tortured? When you were being spread like a cow Under the slaughter, as you put it?
Didn't know you from Mabere no bang, water men ko ye muta ye city ko ye land ko ka ninso land nyame ni bina kanatela.
Si susu di ngono babulu fangsa yani wala arrest na.
Didn't know you be Mabere njila kenyin ngawol.
Ah beje susu di ngono babul.
Yes, the child was there because the child was a suckling child.
Yani wala fang arrest na. Budumala be karijela wala sanjijela wala be susu wala.
The child was suckling. I don't know how many months or years did that child have, but the child was suckling.
So my sister ni ka fo Nyomo Jammeh.
My sister is called Nyomo Jammeh.
Wol bebe jele waro ben tocho kela na waro yen ura ko mbay wulu nyama fama nyaatlo ani tol be nyaatlo ngola je. So mfama kumbora ko ali feng jala ndala wulu de ali feng ka birundu na fo ki am ndala wulu mu wulu de ngola dundan bannato muk.
Yes, but then it happened in the presence of all these people I mentioned. But when they were doing this to me, the time they stripped me naked, my father cried and told them, well, he is my biological son. Whatever you do to him, okay, but I will never reject him. He is my son.
And you told us earlier that something happened to your father.
Ye mfanye ko mangton ko kuzura nda menkete ifamala.
Ye kuma kanja wol fam fama ye. So adi ko dol me alon ko anata kam fama ye out of concept because I'm fama be damon dal. Amandra mol kono dal.
Yeah, they told him many hard words which later traumatized him to the point of being somebody who is not mentally balanced nowadays.
Because
even today I have one of my younger brothers. Sana is staying there.
So I had to cut
He's always there to help my father plus my stepmother. So I informed him that I am going to do my testimony today.
So because
people are not equal.
So
before somebody will go and explain it to him in another way, and which might create another problem for him. I told him to be near him all the time. Before he will think that I am in a problem or something has happened to me which might cause another problem for him.
Up to this moment, up to the point you confessed, did you receive any medical attention?
After being called back,
no, they didn't give me...
No, just answer that question.
No.
From that point onward, Balo Kanteh said the treatment at the NIA changed completely. The violence intensified. According to his testimony before the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission, Balo was subjected to severe torture, meant not only to punish him, but to break him. One of the most painful moments, he told the commission, came when his father was brought into the NIA. His sister was there. Alongside them was another woman and her child, also under arrest. Balo testified that he was beaten in their presence, stripped, assaulted, humiliated, not behind closed doors, but in front of the people he loved most. He told the commission that the physical pain was unbearable, but the emotional pain was worse. Watching his father witness the torture, unable to intervene, unable to speak, unable to protect his own son, was something Balo said he would never forget. He described how his father broke down. The NIA officers knew exactly what they were doing. This was not just torture of the body, it was torture of the family. Balo testified that senior NIA officers, including Sam Sar, Babatinding Jorbate, and others, were involved in his interrogation and abuse. Threats followed the beatings, threats of disappearance, threats of death. He said the torture was meant to send a message, confess, or be destroyed. Balo told the commission that during this period, he believed his life could end at any moment. Eventually, after days of abuse and interrogation, he was removed from the NIA and transferred to Mile 2 prison, where suffering continued in another form. For Balo Kanteh, the NIA was a place where fear ruled, dignity was stripped away, and families were deliberately broken.
So at what stage were you made to make a statement on GRTS?
What did you malam inarane findin the purita kumakao di GRTS?
After all this torturing until they were ready, by that time I was there with Yahya Jammeh. So because by that time the others haven't arrived yet. Esa and Omar Damfa, they have not yet arrived. Suleiman Sar. So that was the time when the two of us were taken in front of the TV. So and that time my body was burnt, and even if you look properly at that time, there were some water drips coming out of my body. So almost 1.5 days. And that was the time it went up till 1.5 days. I am unable to urinate. So he left a pipe or sambalana pur kabulana. They wanted to bring a pipe so that I can be able to urinate. I said to them, no, I refused. Because no one is standing for around. They might damage me. So when I rejected that, and that was the time if I have water to drink, I always recite something and spit it inside the water and drink it until Allah helped me to be able to urinate. That's how it happened.
I am interested in how your statement on GRTS was done. How was it organized?
Well, they organized it as the way they want it to appear. That's how they decided to do it.
Who decided on what you were to say on GRTS?
Jumale kangudi ko wala kumakango bemem fola teleto.
Yen tol bonna NIA comme ça ya itandina ko ale men fo biri ben to chola waro men men fo je bo kuma kan kelon pour sita o 5 GRTS.
What they told me was that during the torturing session after I confessed, they told me to repeat the same words in front of the GRTS cameras.
So do kono forcer la pour ka irandiko jawra dawe ndola kudeta lo wala seku sabal dawe jandundama wollo.
And in that they made it a force on us to say that Jawara was also involved with Sehu Sabali, and I didn't know those people. That's how they did it.
Did you say that?
I said it. It's even in my statement, it's there, because by the time I was doing this, I was not myself. Because the time when they were torturing me was the time when they were writing that statement.
Do you recall the person who was writing the statement?
Lamin Jobari.
Do you recall who told you to say that Jawara and Sehu Sabali were involved in the attack?
For hakilo sa murano jumale nyininga warado jumale o foe ka fo ya fo ko Jawara ni Sehu Sabali adabalo bo idabalo bo inka onyinkona.
Odebari.
Was he alone? Was he the only person who said it?
Adam male o fo banfo
atlem mo de brayo fo dron so mbuso be jobu ninjo abango abafanya diam
Yes.
Nini talar
He was the person who said that, and by that time, Joe was having this nylon bag which was burning, and he was spilling this nylon burnt liquid nylon on me, saying that, speak. If I am ready with you, you will not be able to function as a man again.
Who else told you to say that Jawara and Sabali were involved?
Atakola Jumala fana yo fo puri ite ya foko Jawara ning Segu Sabali daba boinga onyin konole.
Ngamo 4 day la time.
At that time I had it only from 4 day.
Okay. Earlier on you told us that Baba Dindin Jobate also said so. Which is which?
Komanto ye info nyela nko ko Baba Dindin Jobate fana ye info ne puri yafo. Sa nyum Jumala njumati.
Yes, all of them said this, but it was not at the same time.
But you are certain that both of them said it?
Yes. Yes.
You are on the oath?
I swear I know that I am on the oath. Even in my statement, if you check, you will find it there.
Okay. All right. So, the confession you made on television, was it voluntary?
Because he told somebody
no.
Korea wrong because Magandiano by Sambo Betul Bulogon. So for say Puria somebody
no, it was against my will because they had power in their hands. And I had no choice, and that's what they wanted. So they took me there and made me say these things.
After your confession, what happened? After you were presented before the GRTS, what happened?
So
after that, I was brought back to the NIA.
So
I was placed in Bambadinka, myself and Yahya Jammeh. So we went on, continued staying at Bambadinka.
So
during that period, they tried and made it possible for doctors to come and check us there.
So Dr. RBH.
Some doctors come from the RVTH.
So
they come there.
So because
at that time all my body was burnt, and in fact some water was dripping out of some of the sores on my body.
So and
also my leg where I was shot with a gun bullet.
So and around
that time there was still a bullet lodged in my leg and it was bleeding too.
So
yes, those doctors used to come there to check us.
So that's
what they were doing until when Allah's help arrived.
November.
We were there since from November, December, January.
So January till July, not transfer mile to.
I cannot remember which day it was in January when they transferred us to Mile 2.
Up to this stage, have you seen a lawyer?
Nobody mentions a lawyer at that time.
What time of soldier role men for all country, so a soldier role someone special men can paral and police all.
In fact, in those days, they brought in police, soldiers, and members of the paramilitary unit to guard us. I forgot one point, in fact. When we were in Bambadinka, after the torturing session, there was a day when I was sitting inside Bambadinka. I was listening to the radio and I heard my own obituary being read over Radio Gambia.
So it will phone you Radio Gambia.
They brought me out and they themselves were questioning me. Who took this obituary to Radio Gambia?
For policeman or over an Birkam.
Until one policeman came from Brikama. He was among those who were guarding us. But a very good person. I forgot his name. But he once traveled and went to Basse. So the night he came back, his sons or his children told him, it was announced over GRTS that Balo has died. They said his corpse has been taken to Pakali today. The following morning, early, that man came to the NIA and went to Bambadinka and asked them, where is Balo? So I told him, iso telefona kai ko ndolfana mo jane ba fo kan ata fon findina na sinda tulo ya mo ba. Then the reply they gave him was that well, we also had this announcement from this here, from the place here, and in fact we brought him out and talked to him, but it was announced over the radio.
So when you are taken now to Mile 2 prison, where were you detained?
Biri yesamba Mile 2 Kasibumbaro. Yesamba Mintole kesindi.
Yes, Samba confinement number 1.
I was taken to confinement number 1.
VIP or below VIP?
VIP mo kumal lagi samba dame do bang fo amang kany mo ndingol men man kumaya ba ge samba dame.
Ani je kay comme c'est ka ni isa fono comme ka ni ben masakunda dunda nyole comme c'est ma anya so ni masakunda dunda nyola e ka comme ça jongol dal. Well, just like slaves, people who were not in good terms with the government, they were treated like slaves, and a place where they took us to was a place only fit for slaves.
Could you describe the conditions?
Dingranin yalma wada men do fo si jel al halo ni sa phone ake baro ni ake nyanyim phone no nyamba
because ndolbe damando
because where we were kept
bunda sabala bendol nin dolu fanante
there were 3 doors between us and the others.
Labam fanka jeto la Rebel Island.
In the end we called that place as Rebel Island.
Rebel Island?
No, Robert Island.
Robert's Island.
Robin Island.
Robin Island.
Yes, Robin Island.
So,
that place, when we were taken there,
so they don't
allow people mostly to reach us because you have to pass through 3 to 4 doors before reaching us. Before you reach us.
In your cells, how were you sitting there? Were you restrained or you were free?
Itarra siri nunje nyali le fo itarra siri ne bang fo betar be fande mu
birindol futara je jolo amanke anko foti de jolo
when we reached there, the type of restraint they put on slaves, that was the type of restraints, chain irons, which were put on us, not handcuffs. That's what they attached on our legs and on our hands.
So
that's how we were inside those cells.
How long did it take in your detention before these chains were removed?
What delta itarra Morocco no waro menna janni benin chainol bondile bulol bala bate singo bala
yo janni ben chainol bondilam bulol bala ya amra o man sa on fangosi bang because bere yen sambaje.
I thought it might be up to 1 year because from the time we were taken there, these chains were put on us until we started going to court. When we are about to go to the court, we go with these chains because myself and my people, I was the first accused person.
So
whenever we were going, as we go into the truck with them, they escort us with their armor cars,
so you can escort for court.
And that's how they take us all the way to the court. So we go into the box with those chains.
just so-called judges about
I can say there were only so-called judges, about 3 sitting in front of us.
What do you mean by so-called judges?
Because the reason why I said that, because although I didn't go to school, formal schooling, I didn't do it, but I know it might be against the law for somebody who has been taken to court to still be restrained like that.
Okay. During this, in the meantime, your other colleagues, what happened to them?
For what all? Imonyo do kote ono. Mune nara na ke wonna.
Namonyo jumalu.
Dampa.
Okay.
Sar. Aning Balde. The question is, at what stage were they apprehended?
Okay,
yes, they were also arrested and brought to the NIA, but they found us at the NIA.
Do you know whether they were tortured at the NIA?
Yes,
they were tortured. Although we were not together, but they were tortured. Because yes, and during those torture sessions, although we were in a different cell, but you can hear their screams and you can recognize the voice.
While you were at NIA, did you give a confession about the guns, the hunting rifles that you received?
For I sonda nyin na labang kido nyin na kura memu nyin kido nyin na kura bang ka ko ya sota labang
cartouche lo ye tunkang. Yes, I mentioned it there.
Did you tell them the name of the person who made them?
Ya fo enda ba mo mari nyi meyo cartouche dada bang.
Yes, I said it. But right now, I forgot the name, but I mentioned it to them there.
Does the name Sehu Kamara ring a bell?
Sehu Kamara tomo fo si yakilo bulande moto wala bang.
Yes, he's the very guy.
Do you know what happened to him?
Yalla na munana kedala bang.
Dindingo me alon ko sanjitani sei kabiro do mani yo fana arresna anin kabiro do mani mbe keba membulu farafene so yo fana arresna.
Yes, the moment I mentioned his name, they went and arrested him. They arrested the young man who was Kabiro's younger brother, the guy who was 18 years old, and they also arrested the landlord. And the landlord where the man was staying.
The landlord?
Yes, the landlord.
What has the landlord got to do with it?
What they said was that was the place where we stayed. That's why he was arrested.
Okay. Do you know what happened to
I forgot one point. The yard owner was arrested along with his wife.
The wife too?
Yes.
Do you know what happened to Kamara? Sekou Kamara?
Sekou
Kamara, when he was brought there, he really suffered. Because they took him to another place. I think he stayed at that place for some time, and I think he was tortured there.
Do you know whether he is still alive?
Yes, Kamara, I heard that he has passed away.
Do you know how soon he passed after his torture at NIA?
Yalo ne bang pirin ya muta ya sama na NIA ya tajire ya je abulare on kola wati jellel ta janning abe banna.
Mamiro amamme.
It didn't take long.
1 month, 2 months?
Killing Karifula.
Amira na siara. Atatambila karsabola wrong.
If it maximum, I can say it will be not more than 3 months.
But of course, this is hearsay.
But you moira cold.
Ah, yes.
And while you were at mile 2, were you charged?
Tembo me lebe no mile 2. Fo ye tumir de ikango dale banka fo ye nyine tinyo luala karola ba.
Ani ngawat kejele jani ibe charge so nyi sambarana.
No, we were there for some time before they brought on those charges.
How long?
Wati je delta janni be tumir kayrol nat lal kan.
Tumur kayro nyi ngamira insafo no ngamira karkilin kejele wala tumando bar namiror. Go sumang nyina da ku jamana ba namiror nga karkilin kejele wala men siarawri. So time olem inara charge so nyi samana.
As far as I can remember, I think we spent 1 month or even more than that. But I cannot remember everything exactly. But I can say about that, that was the time when these charges were brought, either 1 month or a little bit after that.
Could you tell us the conditions in the cell, the conditions of the cell you were detained in?
Mile 2 or NIA? Council?
At mile 2.
Ako fo si selo nyina alhalo mile 2. Fo si je fo no nyebanga jebe nyaadi le.
Yendol samba selo men do selo nyindo yara.
The cell where we were put in is a very small cell.
O selo nyi
That cell,
biriyan sambaje.
when we were taken into that cell,
Nga babar jarol tranunje babaro ka wala comme ça babar telam.
it was a plank of wood which we found inside there.
So babar telam ni
That plank of wood
so ngalla wala kan.
was what we used to lie down on.
So mbeje mbajatem bulde
We were there and we had no blankets,
fendem bul.
nothing else.
Beje fo nga kumas kata court.
We were there until we started going to court.
So waro mbiraje ndol biraje waro man nga sisele traje.
Duma Sise.
Sandar mo koro man fo Modi Sise.
The time when we were going there, we found somebody called Modu Sise. He was one time a gendarme officer.
Barat la time mo mamme.
But he was not there for a long time.
Waro nimbira court.
So at that time when we were going to court,
Nin kurdu sudung la kata.
we used to go with short trousers,
Singenzo.
barefoot,
Ani jolo.
and also chained.
So lundo sorora.
So one day,
So Sise naraje ko nguyang kata nyame.
Sise came there just when we were about to go.
So anara la officer do ke akaya tita samaro sanna.
He sent one of his officers and told him to go and buy a pair of shoes for me.
Ba biri samaro nyen samana.
But when these shoes were brought,
Musa sembo dal.
because he was not that powerful,
Biri samaro nyen ngamra dandal lungkulini le abusin.
I think I wore those shoes only one day and it was taken away from me.
So kata court wo nyama.
That's how we went on going to court.
Yo bari jani mbira court no time charge so nyi.
But before we went to court, the charges,
Ika chewdo Pambay.
there was a man called Pambai.
Ani Interior Minister member sharing this right now.
And the Interior Minister presently, who is the present Interior Minister,
It will charge so somebody na mile 2.
they brought the charges for us at mile 2.
So biri charge so nyen samana.
When these charges were brought,
And what is the name of the Interior Minister?
Yankuba Songo.
Yankuba Sonko.
All he did was to come and bring the charges to you.
Ay membe ke wala mnyindi ronka tumiri kaito nyinka nati kasoro je. Ndonga ay wala ke.
Yes, yes.
Ya wala somebody na ay comme ça biri na re ko ngana pour ngali charge.
And that's what he said to us. When he came, they said, we are sent here to come and prepare these charges for you.
Inaran charge.
And we were charged.
Treason charge.
Treason.
9 charges yan charge wala.
Yellow?
9 charges.
9 counts of treason.
Yan charge wala.
That's what we were charged.
After Balo Kanteh was taken to Mile 2 prison, his suffering deepened. he told the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission that he lived for months without bathing, in filthy cells with no proper sanitation, sharing makeshift toilets that were rarely emptied. Fear ruled the prison. Prisoners slept each night, unsure if they would survive until morning. The TRRC later confirmed that torture, inhuman treatment, and denial of basic rights were widespread at Mile 2 during this period. Balo was denied access to a lawyer and subjected to an unfair trial. He was later sentenced to death. While in detention, he was forced to appear on national television and read a statement under pressure, implicating people he said he did not know. Refusal, he explained, meant more suffering or death. For Balo Kanteh, Mile 2 prison was not just a place of detention, it was hell on earth, where justice disappeared and survival depended on silence.
I want to know the conditions of the cell. Okay, were you allowed to have shower?
Lafta selo nyin alhalo nyin lonna fo ikasilo dia lalon pour aliye kuba
ikara fo ndol taraje fo karwo.
You were there up to 6 months. We never had the chance to take showers.
6 months?
Karuoro?
Yes.
So karuoro kono?
Within those 6 months, you don't go out. Just like these small oil gallons. I think the 20 liter, that's what they cut in half. When it was cut off, they will give one half to the other man and the other half to somebody else. That's where you do your everything. So in daybreak, when it is daylight, so the mess boys who are there, so 6 months, so within those 6 months, those mess boys are the people who will come and collect those things and go and empty them. So after they were emptied, they will bring them back. And when lunch is also brought, just like if you have a ship in a house, so just how you treat a ship, you will just come and put the food inside. If your food is placed inside, they lock up the door.
You were under seal pretty much.
Yes.
For how long?
It went nearly up to 2 years. And in fact, the thing went on until I became fair-colored. So if you touch my skin, it burns like pepper. So that's the type of condition we were in at that time.
How about the food?
No, that's not at all good. Because by the time when we were going to Mile 2, and in those days they used to cook couscous for dinner and they will put corned beef on it. So when they knew that we are coming, there was somebody who they used to call Sefla.
What's his first name?
Yahya
Jammeh.
Yes, proceed.
So
they changed everything. So by the time of but at that time also, Sise was there. But Sise didn't stay there long. And there was a short old man from Sukuta, Ndau. But it's Ndau. A short old man. But I think that was organized by that man so that we will not get good food.
So time mbuka domor kendo soro.
You don't get good food at all.
So ntarta wala kono.
That's how we were there.
So for kaso a problem o do soro no.
Until there was a problem in the jail there.
Aro lumomen ne yentol sentence, death sentence.
The day we were sentenced to death, they said we should be killed. That was the day. That problem occurred in the prison.
So
that's how Morisise was removed from the prison.
Yes, somebody David.
And David was put in charge.
So
David who?
David Colley.
David Colley.
Was he a good prison manager?
For ila londoro David Colley nyatonka kendo lambande kasibungo jeba
amankata wala
far from that.
What do you mean?
Ilo ko tombonati
David ngalo fondana ngato la nga fa John Furune ne prison jama nga ba ndel ka fa John Furune.
David, I knew him to a level that I gave him a nickname called John Furunding.
What is that? What is John Furunding? What is Furunding?
John Furunding.
John Furunding. Comme ça au molti donc ala bere abali comme ça man bere aron.
Just somebody who is bad. That's why I just gave him that name.
Okay, so you were in mile 2 and now you are sentenced to death.
And if you mile 2, you kitindi yes or
yes.
Yes.
What happened? Did anything happen to any of your colleagues?
Yes, they were all locked up and said they should be killed. But before we were locked up,
court that's
just a little bit before our court was to start, Yahya became sick. Before they passed the sentence on us,
so
Yahya became sick.
Of what?
Internal bleeding.
Internal bleeding.
This internal bleeding, how did he get it?
Internal bleeding,
because of the beatings. That's how he got it.
And then what happened to him eventually? When
we were in the jail and after these torturing things started to have a toll on him, inside his cell there, because his leg was restrained by an iron chain, likewise his hand.
So till danda inara bondi asamba ila headquarters.
A few days later, he was removed from there and taken to their headquarters. There was a place where they decided to lay him down, and still his leg and hand were chained. Because it didn't take him long. He became sick on a Sunday, and he died the following Sunday.
Would you say he died or he was killed?
Well, because he was removed from the cell and taken to that other place. I can say that they finished him up from at that point. You can see that when he became sick, the type of blood that comes out of him.
From where? Which part of it?
He was bleeding from his backside, his mouth. Yeah, he was bleeding from all these parts. But when he died, I can say they killed him. After they did that,
so after court.
Then after that, we went to court. When we were going to court, we didn't see him. But already we had information that he had died. Because wherever you go in this world, there will be a good person.
So when
we went to court, so these judges asked about him. They said, where is Yahya?
So
one doctor was called.
So
this doctor, he was asked. He said Yahya died at the hospital. I said in my mind, you have just told a big lie. You are not even afraid of Allah. You are not afraid of anything. You decide to stand here and tell this big lie. And the man died in prison, and now you come to the court and said he died in a hospital. By the time when we were going to court, they didn't even allow us to see our family members. Because the first day when we arrived at the courthouse, what the judges told us, if I can remember properly, somebody called Judge Coker.
Presiding judge.
He was the presiding judge.
The
presiding judge was Judge Coker, but there were two other judges. There were three in number.
So the
judge, he told us, do you want a jury or do you want these three judges? I said to him, we don't want these three judges, we want a jury.
Okay.
He said, okay.
So
he wrote that. But at that time, he alone comes. We were taken back to mile 2. The following day, when we came back, he said to us, the government said they cannot pay a jury. They will take these three judges. But what they will do, your families will not take lawyers for you, and your friends will not acquire the service of a lawyer for you. All people, my friends, relatives who can take a lawyer for me, they refused and said there will be no lawyer for me. And your court case,
family members not
even a single person of your family members will attend the court cases. And no civilian will come who will attend the case. And no journalist will be allowed to attend the court.
So it will left
just like how they want to do it.
So you can soldier.
That's how they take us to court, except with soldiers plus paramilitary.
So you mean the court, there was no audience, the public was not allowed?
No. Plus 2 white men were there. I don't know who gave them the information at that time. I saw these 2 white men came. I was in the box. We were in the box and they passed. They came and they entered the courtroom. The judge told the officers to take these white men out.
So would you say this was more or less trial in camera, trial in secret?
I love moya kalamudafana. So ni left a menkelan dollar. Hani left them fala secret roko ne sa keno mokana kalamuda na family kana kalamuda dunia kana kalamuda ya ke wala nyamaro.
Yes. They were doing it in secret because whatever they wanted to do, maybe they could have even killed us in secret. So this is how everything was going on. They don't allow our family members or anybody to come and attend the case.
You told us that they did not even allow you to choose your own lawyers.
That's what they banned before they even told us that your relatives will attend it.
Did you, in the trial, challenge the admissibility of the confession you made at the NIA?
Iti dula nyinto fo inata na balang ilo songo nyinna labang ye songo menke NIA kiti dingira nyinto fo inata na ofintindi jela bang ka fo ko ibalantan num jela bari ye force ki NIA
ha kiti dula ro na statement ko ko dolbe je bere nyini nga wala kiti dula nyinto ye balanda wala le.
Yes, at the courthouse they asked me about certain things in our statement. We rejected, we resisted and told them that no. Because the lawyers that were given to us, Raymond Sok, plus
Hamate. So you lawyer follow, but Janin don't follow the lawyers.
But before you have our lawyers,
lawyer bukan hanya time.
There will be no lawyers who is brave enough to stand for us.
Because case silan lewaro ya jamela ko dari yan soja kundaru soja rule case silan dile.
So that time
momo lora mbe fala momo lora mbe fala nyum lawyer follow just e wakil tal drum.
They used to scare them.
Ko wakil tal bay mantra hangiring wo fang wol fang mantra defense no hani 5 minutes.
They just took the case, but they were always scared that anyone who stood for us, they would kill them. And so their representation was not even more than 5 minutes. Did you show the court the injuries that you sustained in the hands of the NIA?
Ye bar mo men so do NIA le bulo kono fo ya itande kiti dingira nyim dole ba.
Nga itande kiti laro ma akisa bu yalo e men fanya ko nako ene bar mo borana laberiale.
I showed it to them at the court, but they would not accept. They told me that I came with those injuries from Liberia. Including your missing nipple?
Aning sunjo fana men fana kundura yo fana ko fana no baraw ji.
Be fo keso e madam nda be ngawura je nyamen tay. Ngawura je wala nya.
All of it, just as I undressed here, the same way I undressed there. Do you believe you had a fair trial?
Fo ila ra nyinna lako ila kidio nyinga nen tilimo la taraba.
Not close to it at all. You believe you were convicted even before you set foot in that court? Yes, that was how they did it.
And
yes, and in fact, we even contemplated being killed. For me to be here today, we did not even believe I would get to this day. Thank you very much. Subsequently, you were serving death sentence. Did anything happen to your sentence later?
No, sorondro kunara na kyala because very yani ben sentence la randene na mol ni ben nin kala ndal follow ka diam so we can box on nyum ko non 2 days ben fan defense ka so biri en soron fana mbeje from somehow e ko nyako ingal soron death sentence.
Yes, in fact, amongst our people, when they are asking questions, I was the one who used to respond. So for 2 days, I gave my defense until I was told that we were going to be in prison.
So,
while we were imprisoned, when they were sentencing us, what they told us was that it was a death sentence and that we were going to be killed.
Within 25 days.
And that was going to be within 25 days. If your appeal is not successful, we will kill you. But before we kill you,
Minister of Justice,
the Minister of Justice, at the time it was Hawasise Sabali.
So, Minister of Justice,
and whatever Minister of Justice is in office at that time would sign that document.
But you sentenced wrong.
But as soon as we were sentenced,
I till then what resigned.
I think it was just for a couple of days, and she resigned. She resigned her position.
And then?
So
when we came to the prison, and we were serving our sentence,
25 days
before the 25 days,
so
the appeal came out.
So
when the appeal came,
so
we went to the appeal.
So
but that appeal,
so
then they told us that came from Yahya Jammeh's mouth. He came to ourselves and said to me, your appeal has come, but now you will not secure the services of a lawyer. Your relatives too will not secure the services of a lawyer for you. The government will give you a lawyer. I said, really? And they said, yes. I told him, well, you just see how you want it and do it that way. But before they could get a lawyer, we used to go to the court and come back, and it took a long time before they could secure a lawyer for us. Until one man called Matthew Mendy, he represented the four of us.
So Matthew Mendy,
he tried a lot.
Martin Mendy.
Martin Mendy,
yes.
And
he is now late.
He's now there, yeah. So
He defended us and he tried a lot.
During the appeal,
even the payment during the appeal, during the appeal, I showed him all my torture.
But
despite all of that, he started the case, but they would not accept it.
So
after the court came to an end, he said, your sentence has been waived, but now you don't have a sentence. The government said that they will not release you.
International Court of Justice
in London. That they will take your case to the International Court of Justice in London.
Privy Council.
Yes, exactly. That's the place. That was where they took our case to. When they took our case there, we were there.
So 2000.
They sent documents.
So
what they sent, they showed them that we were acquitted and discharged. So for them to release us.
So by Wolf only lawyer didn't Dauda and Andrew Thomas.
They provided us lawyers called Dauda and Andrew Thomas.
So by
but they said that they will not release us.
But are you sure about this?
They told
us already that they will not release us. Yahya Jammeh said this to me, that the government said they will not release you, but they will take your case to another court.
At this stage in Balo Kanteh's journey, it is important to understand what he was truly enduring. This was a man who had crossed borders, survived war, and returned home believing in a cause. What awaited him, however, was not freedom. It was systematic suffering. After his arrest, Balo was subjected to repeated interrogations by the National Intelligence Agency. Beatings became routine. He was denied access to a lawyer and stripped of basic dignity. According to his testimony, truth no longer mattered, only forced confessions. He told the commission that even while he was still alive, announcements were made on national radio suggesting that he was already dead. Hearing this himself left him in shock, convinced that the state had already decided his fate. Inside Mile 2 prison, Balo described conditions that broke men both physically and mentally. Prisoners went months without bathing. Human waste was kept in containers inside cells. Fear ruled the nights, and detainees slept not knowing if morning would come. Screams echoed through the prison corridors, and some prisoners were taken away and never returned. Under extreme pressure, Balo was forced to appear on national television. He was made to say words that were not his own and pushed to implicate people he did not know. He said refusal meant more beatings, more suffering, and the real possibility of death. When his case finally went to court, secrecy surrounded the process. No family members were allowed inside. Journalists were barred. Civilians were excluded. Balo told the commission that the hearings were conducted behind closed doors, denying him transparency, legal representation, and justice. Then came the verdict. Balo Kanteh was sentenced to death. At that moment, his life entered an even darker chapter, one that would test not only his body, but his will to survive.
Wasn't it the case that your sentence was reduced to life imprisonment instead of death?
Fo nyina manga ko nyinti bang Allah sorondiro nyengi nata na talale ka bondi ko nyantal falale ya bondi odo ko say albidal albal sio bele la kasoro.
Ani Martin Mendy ya men fondole.
No, what Martin Mendy said to us,
akonya ko the life hotel law no la.
He said that the life sentence cannot stand.
Men satin a life for law.
Because what will make it stand?
Those
charges were not brought here.
Evidence charges
that cannot stand because the charges have to come with evidence which can make it stand.
So uniform while
we are in detention, we did not wear the uniform of the inmates. We were dressed in our civilian clothes.
So detention for 2004.
So we were in that detention up to 2004. When Charles Taylor's government was ousted, the people that were there, when they came,
so
they arrested Abulai Sonko in Nyomi Berendeng.
So
when they brought him,
so Abulai charged treason charges.
Abulai too was charged for treason.
After Abulai attacking Kerano.
At the time that we did the attack,
Abulai escaped.
Abulai had escaped and returned back to Liberia. When Charles Taylor's government was no longer in power and he returned, that was when he was arrested in Nyomi Berendeng.
So
and they brought him to Mile 2. When they brought him to Mile 2,
so Abeje,
he was there. He was going to court and coming back.
So
according to what he told me, the first lawyer that his family secured for him was Hussein Udabo.
So
when they secured that lawyer for him,
so
I think that went for a little while.
So family.
He called him and the family. He said to them the way he saw the court proceeding, they could not charge him for treason. That if you committed a crime in your country and you run away and stayed abroad for so many years and return, even if you are to charge, it cannot be for treason.
Mr. Chair, maybe he must have been referring to statute of limitations, but we cannot guess. Proceed.
Opposition.
Since he was an opposition member, and so he withdrew from the case. And then they secured the services of my party.
So
when they secured the services of my party, my party then became his lawyer. So within that,
so my evidence against Abulai Sonko.
They did not have evidence against Abulai Sonko.
Banta mentionalo asafu kodno Abulai Sonko dabe farafin attack.
Outside that can prove, or someone from outside who can come and testify that Abulai Sonko was a part of the attackers of Farafenni.
So Abulai inarantol no makasor.
Then they came after us in prison.
DPP member Ajim, what time wala vision.
The DPP at the time was Ajim.
So Narani Suleiman Sar Taji.
They came and took me and Suleiman Sar.
Yes, some GPP la officer.
They took us to the DPP's office. They told us that the DPP wants you to answer to him. So when we went there,
GPP ko.
The DPP said,
any evidence outside
we don't have any evidence from outside which can say that Abulai Sonko was a part of the attack of Farafenni. But they wanted to use us to implicate Abulai Sonko to be as being part of the attackers. But at that time, when the DPP said that, I said the DPP, and he said yes. I said, I am in prison. And you asked me to come and lock up someone again, because it's all about that. If you want that, you release me to go home, and then you will be calling me to come and testify as a witness. But if you do not release me to go home, and you want me to come and become a witness, that is going to be very difficult. So at that point, we told him that we will have discussions with our people. That was on a Friday. When we returned, we had a discussion with our colleagues that we left behind. They said to us, don't accept it. If they don't release you, don't accept it. So they took us back on a Monday, because the DPP had said that we should return back on the Monday. When we returned on that Monday, he said that we should go to court. He was in his chamber. He said we go to court. I said to him, we are not going. Because we cannot do it. If you release us and we went home, we could come there. Otherwise, we will not do it. There was a bitter quarrel that day. In that situation, those of you that are in prison, you should have been killed. Those of you are on life in prison. I said no, I did not accept. I said no. Well, since our court proceedings ended, we are in prison, but there was not talk about life or death sentence. When we were returned back, they called Yahya Jammeh. These people are talking about life, then give them the uniforms of the inmates. So that was how he called us, took us to the reception. They took away our civilian clothes and gave us the uniforms of the inmates. That was when they told us that you are now spending your entire life here. But that was not said to us. Martin Mendem never said that to us.
But you would admit, Mr. Witness, that you don't have any documents to show this.
Bari sedo ebe son na nyimmala ko kaytite bulu ebe mentande le commission la jang ko sabatindi.
No kayit tembulon si men irande commission bari kaytol men yan ko aborna biri nyim wakeran biri o fengol dun tolanu.
There is no document, but when we were given those uniforms,
so we
were in prison there again. They did not relent. After some time, they wrote a letter from the courthouse and requesting my presence and Esa Balde. When they said that, I knew directly that it was concerning the issue of Abulai Sonko. So, when they called us to the reception and took us back in the cell, we told our people. So ni esa vesilo kanka hani alkalo na e kumandi kare dangura be memfole ye la moy bari jabiro obo bolo itolo bulon ko mote odune da ko. I was with Esa, and on the way going I told him, even an alkalo, when he calls you, you have to go and answer, but whatever response you give to him, that has to be what comes from your own mouth. So mbeje naran samba court, And so they took us to court.
So Biren Samba court say that against Abulai Songo.
They took us there to testify against Abulai Sonko. So that was when it was made clear to us that we are now spending our entire life in prison. Since we have refused to testify against Abulai Sonko. That was when they told us that you are now been sentenced to life. Up till now, they did not relent. They took us to court to testify against Abulai Sonko.
Did you testify against him?
They were said that
testimony was given, but I shall tell you how it went about.
So
when we got there,
GPP ni my fari not a problem or sort of
we were going to court and coming back, and at the time the DPP and my party had a problem.
So fall from my arrest
until they nearly arrested my party. One day they brought soldiers there to arrest my lawyers came there, both male and female. The whole place was full. They all sat down there.
So
they spoke to them. But the judge that was there, that was a carpenter judge. He locked Baba.
What do you mean by carpenter judge?
That judge was a carpenter here in the Gambia. He knows our entire end, where we come from.
So another Jojo.
He was the one they made a judge.
Justice Paul.
Justice Paul.
Justice Paul.
Justice Paul.
Because at the phone
he was a carpenter here. He told me that from his own mouth when we went to court.
So he entered follow the box.
I was the first witness on the box.
So
and they were questioning me if I knew Abulai Sonko. I was in the witness box and Abulai Sonko was in the other box.
3 days.
3 days? Where I was with them. If I go there in the morning and I stand in the box
almost 1 o'clock
until almost 1 o'clock.
So
they kept asking me questions. They could not get anything from me. Because there were some questions that they asked me. Some of them were in my statement. They have already sentenced me. So when they asked me, I'll tell them that I will not answer because I am not here for any court case. They asked me, do you know this man? I told them I don't know him. I have never seen him. They said to me, but you are with him in mile 2. I told them mile 2 is wide. And he is not in the same place with me. They told me, but you come together with him in the same vehicle. I told them I never saw him there.
So GPP.
So the DPP. But at that time, journalists were allowed in. Sometimes when I come out of the
journalists or any family members or any Gambian.
The journalists, family members, and ordinary Gambians will come and dash us some money.
Let me ask you this question. During your own trial, the times you were going to court, were you at any time tortured by prison officers?
That usually happened. When we are going to court, some prison officers and some soldiers were there. So we used to lie on our bellies on the truck, and our hands were cuffed behind us, and we lied on our bellies, and that was how we lay down before we will get to the court and alive. My friend, that was usually a problem.
So
And when we disembark,
so
you will hear the chains, clinging all the way.
So
and we are always in those chains in the box. And when we are coming to, so the vehicles were always parked under the sun. So if you climb that truck and you are made to lie on your belly on that truck, if your heart is always about to break, because of the heat from the iron. That was the manner in which they brought us out.
How about any beatings by prison officers?
There was one man they call Manga. His hand is having a problem. There was another one called Manga. He's a fat guy.
So
they kept beating us up. Just as Sefla and his people. And Yahya Jammeh himself and his crew.
So
they kept beating us. They were other soldiers like Buba Mendi. There was one other called Pamodu Khan. He was also there.
The duty at the time.
The soldiers that were on duty at the time. And you get to know them, know the soldiers who usually escort you.
Do you know a person called Jagide?
Yes, I know Jagide.
What can you tell us about him?
He was there, even though he did not torture anyone, but when they are beating people, he never asked them to stop.
Those who are beating, would they be under Jagide's authority?
Yes, because lastly, Bubamene in our arrest, Yasamana might be Basamana Lumana. Alam Kitty Taylor.
Yes, they were under his authority. In fact, lastly, Bubamen was arrested, and the day that he was brought to the prison. God is great. The day that they were bringing him in, and they were putting handcuffs in his hands, I was standing there. I thank the Almighty. I said to him, even if this one should spend just one day here in prison, and he's released,
Alhamdulillah.
Praise be to God.
You are telling us when Jobate came to prison, and they came to talk to you. What happened?
When they brought Jobate to the cell where I was,
number 4 you are number 1 yes number 4
at the time I was taken from number 1 to number 4. I cleaned his cell.
I
welcomed him and I cleaned his cell for him. I told him what has happened has happened. We can forgive, but as for forgiving, as for remembering, forgetting, we will not forget. And wherever in the world that I am asked about this, I can say it. Not Jobate alone. Fodebare was brought there twice. In fact, for him, in the end, he was not always comfortable meeting with me. And I sent one of them with whom he was in the same cell, and I told him to ask him to come. And when he came, I told him I have forgiven, but I will not forget. And wherever I am asked, I will narrate it. When you were doing it to me, you did not believe that you will end up here. You thought I was an enemy of the state.
So no fanana ko kara warenga.
So this was what happened between me and him.
If all those people you mentioned,
ninga yatra yol mol men be tofo.
Baba Dinding Jobate, Hari Sambu, Odebari, Salmina Drame, Joe Mendy. Those are the ones I can remember off the top of my head. Samsar. If all those people were to come here and accept that they have tortured you, would you be willing to forgive them and to reconcile with them?
I swore to God that if they come here and accepted, I forgive them. Because God has passed judgment between me and them. Even Salmina himself was brought to the cell, to the jail. That alone is enough.
Alhamdulillah.
Praise be to God. Since you said I was an enemy of the state, you have not taken me to the state, to the cell for any other thing, until except for a coup d'etat. But they took you to this jail for something which is not the same with mine.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.
Praise to God. When you were doing it, you did not believe, and God passed judgment, and that they are now here with me. To God, I will forgive. But wherever they ask me about this, until the day that I die, I will always narrate it.
You told us about your father having been brought to the NIA. You are on the oath. Was he tortured?
Balo Kanteh's story does not end here. What you have witnessed is only one chapter in a long and painful journey. A journey marked by ambition, betrayal, survival, and suffering. The road from Libya to Liberia, from Farafeni to Mile 2 prison, was not just a political struggle, it was a human one. There is still more to uncover, more truth yet to be spoken, more pain that has remained hidden for years. What happened to Balo Kanteh after Mile 2, how he endured a death sentence, how he survived torture, isolation, and silence, and how his voice finally reached the nation through the Truth, Reconciliation, and Reparations Commission. That story is still unfolding. This is not the end, it is only the beginning. To continue with Part 5 of Balo Kanteh's untold story, make sure you follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more factual African documentaries, real-life confessions, and stories that history almost erased. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and thank you for standing with truth, justice, and memory.